father graduated here sometime around World War II or so, a long, long time ago. And I went to BB. BB people.
Woo! BB!
Okay, welcome to your period 3 vacation. As I know, you get to hear from me instead of these guys here, so you're welcome. And Mr. Sands for actually making the request to come visit. So, all right. As Mr. Monroe said, I'm from the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, which is a NASA field center. The Jet Propulsion Laboratory is actually up in the Pasadena area north of the Rose Bowl, and we do absolutely no work on jet propulsion. That's a different story. Any of you been to the Jet Propulsion Laboratory tour or open house or anything like that? Okay. Well, JPL is NASA's lead center for the robotic exploration of the solar system. So what we do is we build robotic spacecraft that either land on, crash into, or orbit or fly by planetary bodies. We also build space telescopes, and we're involved in all sorts of different aspects of technology. Some of you might have heard of global warming. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. The politically correct term is climate change. Climate changes all the time. Climate changes over long periods of time, short periods of time. What the climate is doing now, I know how exciting it is to watch it perform, but I'm going to stand over here so I won't be drawn over to it. So the climate is changing all the time, and right now the climate is warming. And the big question, which has pretty well been answered over the last few years, is are human beings responsible, or is climate change, are we just going through a natural cycle? So 15,000 years ago, North America was mostly covered with ice in an ice age. Obviously it's not now. So the climate ebbs and flows. It has natural cycles, natural changes, but are humans responsible for global warming as is taking place now? About half of the data that goes into answering that question comes from spacecraft built and operated by the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. So we've got as many spacecraft orbiting Earth and looking at the surface of Earth, looking at oceans, atmosphere, ice, the movement of gases to the environment. About half of the data that goes into that discussion are actually from spacecraft that are built or operated up just above the Rose Bowl. Now, the thing about NASA's famous for spacecraft and for human exploration and for robotic exploration of the solar system. Different parts of NASA do different things. NASA is the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. So the part of NASA that's involved in robots, we're active in that. There's another NASA center as well. But human space flight is mostly the Johnson Space Center in Houston. That's where the astronauts live and work and train, and that's where they operate the Space Shuttle and the International Space Station. Anybody know how many people are in space right this minute?
4, 5, 10, 0, 2, 36. 11.
It's 2 right at the moment.
Ooh.
Yes. Okay. Very good. You win absolutely nothing. All right. Except my respect.
Thank you.
Okay. That's actually an unusual situation right at the moment. Normally, the International Space Station has a crew of, anybody want to guess?
4.
6.
Very good, 6. When a shuttle visits the International Space Station, then the shuttle brings up a crew of 7, and so you've got 13 people in space. Now, the International Space Station, that's happened several times. The International Space Station really is international. So right now, there's an American and a Russian on board, and 2 people is kind of unusual. It's kind of a time between crew exchanges where they go up either in the shuttle or in a Russian Soyuz, 3 at a time, and the new crew comes up, and the old crew comes down. The new crew will be out of space anywhere from 4 to 6 months, sometimes a little bit longer, doing laps every 90 minutes, making a trip around Earth. And right now, because of the crew exchange situation, there's only 2 people in space. Coming up on Sunday the 20th, I think, there's going to be a Russian launch, and 3 more astronauts and cosmonauts and Europeans or Japanese are going to be going up. I don't remember who's on the crew. But right now, the commander is Jeff Williams, and the flight engineer is Max Suryev. And again, these people are up there for about 6 months or so. So you think, like a 50-minute class period is interminable. Imagine someone said you're going to live in a bunch of cans, and I'll show you some pictures of it if in fact we can get the pictures going here, for 6 months with like 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 other people who are not picked because they happen to be your best friends. They were picked because of their technical skills, but they were also picked because of their ability to get along. Okay, so you've got a bunch of professionals. Nobody's Facebooking about anybody else on the International Space Station, although they have IP up there. They actually can exchange internet. I actually once received an email from the International Space Station Looks like a regular email from a guy named Bill MacArthur, but you had to know where Bill was at the time when he sent that email. So I've got that up on my, I just printed out a copy. It's like my email from space. So I'm not an astronaut. I have no prospects of going, but some of you might. Hopefully, if NASA gets on the ball, you'll reach the point sometime late in your lives where you could go to space on vacation to the moon or something like that, because you wanted to, like you might go to Paris or London or Tokyo or something. It costs money, a lot of arrangements, might need some shots, but you can go if you want to go. Right now, it's not like that. Only about 500 people have ever been to space, and about 4% of those have died in the process through various accidents, one sort or another. So if you took a flight out of LAX and you had a 96% chance of making it successfully to your destination, would you get on that plane?
Yeah.
No, you wouldn't. Not if you were going on like a business trip or going to go see a football game or something like that. If you had a 4 in 100 chance of not making it to your destination, okay, those are terrible odds. So what space is all about right now is a kind of a very specialized domain for highly trained scientists, engineers, technical people. But there's a group of people that are trying to develop space tourism. So you know about Virgin Records, Virgin Airways. Well, Richard Branson is the person who has got the money behind that, and he's got something called Virgin Galactic. And Virgin Galactic is going to not take you to galaxies, but they're working with a company called Scale Composites up at Mojave, and a very innovative designer named Bert Rutan, who has got an aircraft that's like 2 fuselages connected by a long wing. And slung underneath is a vehicle called Spaceship Two. And so the vehicle is called the White Knight. It's actually named as Eva. But it's going to fly up to 50,000 feet with 2 pilots and 6 passengers, and then drop that center vehicle, which has a rocket motor that will take it up out of the atmosphere over 100 kilometers, over 62 miles high, and in a ballistic arc go up, over, and then back down again. And so paying passengers, those 6 people in the back, pay $200,000 apiece to go up in outer space for about 5 or 6 minutes of weightlessness and a chance to see the curvature of Earth and everything else, and then come back down. So they will be commercial astronauts by virtue of having taken that flight. So for those of you that have squirreled away $200,000, you can join about 300 other people who've already slapped their money down for a flight to take place sometime, probably in the next 3 or 4 years. They've got a lot of test flights they're going to do before they can take paying customers. Chance to actually orbit on the International Space Station. Talk to the Russians. Price has gone up. That used to be $20 million. Now it hits you for $35 million. But you could ride a Soyuz, go up to the International Space Station for 10 days or so, and then come back down and land in Russia. And there's, I think, 6 people or so who have done that so far. All right. Ignore Mr. Foreman. Okay, now, since this is biology, how many of you have taken physiology? Taken physiology? Okay. All right, if I say anything that you know is wrong because you learned it differently, by all means speak up. Because when I taught here, I taught astronomy, and I taught physical science, ran the planetarium, which you've probably heard about but never been in. I don't think anybody's teaching astronomy right now, unfortunately. So I'm not a life science guy. Astronomy, though, is a very good topic because lots of things now are part of it. Any of you heard of astrobiology? Okay, astrobiology is astronomy and biology put together. What that is the study of the prospects of life elsewhere in the universe, including our own solar system. So right now, how many places do we know of that have life of any sort? Yeah, exactly 1. No, you're in it. Okay, the diversity of life is phenomenal. I learned a couple of months ago that you have 600 different species of bacteria living on your elbow. Okay. You probably be when you can't see them. You probably wouldn't be okay if you got rid of them all. Okay, some of them we actually need. Some are required for some of the human processes. In fact, most of your body is made up of bacterial DNA. Okay, it's not actually human, it's bacterial that is built up over time. Who can you blame? Mom. Okay, most of the bacterial load that you were provided with in utero and during birth. So there you go. We function because we have bacteria. If you ever take antibiotics, if you get sick for something, not a virus, taking antibiotics is a waste of time. You might as well take Cheese Whiz. But if you get a bacterial infection of some sort and you take an antibiotic, the antibiotics kill the bacteria that they're targeted at, but they often kill a lot of others too. And so what ends up happening is you actually get sick from the medicine while the medicine is killing off whatever was making you sick in the first place. And the idea is that the medicine doesn't kill you.